Hello, hello. This is Pattyjo. This is again day 2. I'm doing this in smaller chunks today. I have my granddaughter coming over, so I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. We're maybe get to hopefully through this officer's testimony. He is the officer who stopped and talked to Erica and Corey and Nick, and then when he heard all the radio traffic, went through the parade, and I think that is where we are. He's still being questioned by the state's attorney's office.
Go ahead and have a seat, please.
Oops.
It was a little bit difficult to hear when you asked Erica Patterson who assaulted her. Did she tell you a name?
She did not, no.
She did not provide you with any names?
She did not.
Okay. You had her name and her date of birth, and that was it at that point?
That's all I could gather before I had to run out of there as fast as I could.
Okay. Now, when you got to Main Street, where'd you go?
When I got to Main Street, as most of you probably just saw in the video, I took a westbound direction all the way down to Barstow. There's still floats in the parade. I think there was a lot of people that didn't exactly know what was happening in front of them. When I got to Barstow and exited my patrol vehicle and you saw me running down towards the center of the street, at that point I was just trying to assist any officer, EMS, civilian individual that was around, and it was just mass chaos, carnage everywhere.
Did you attempt to render aid to some injured individuals?
There was approximately 2 to 3 individuals I can remember talking to directly. They were all members of the band. I don't know which band it was. It was one of the high school bands. They were in the vicinity just west of Barstow on Main. There was a number of them laying in the street, obviously injured. I had face-to-face contact with a few of them laying on the ground. There were parents screaming at me to help their kids. I did what basic measures that I could take as far as emergency life-saving goes.
Okay, again, I'm going to chime in here just really quickly. I have been a paramedic for years. I've taught for years. And I will tell you, first of all, I'm going to say most police officers, not all, some are trained to very high level. Nursing and paramedic are completely different education models, okay? Nursing and doctors are completely different models. Paramedic is actually closer to, say, what a physician would go through. Now, I mean, obviously not to that level. It's only a 2 to 4 year degree, but it's going from very basic street level life support to fairly advanced. And police are not generally trained to those levels. They have basic training. They have training with overdoses. They have training with first aid. They have training with tourniquets. There's all kinds of training that they do have, but a lot of it's trauma based, and a lot of it is fairly basic and emergent, waiting so that they can really, you're bridging till you get to the next level of care. And even paramedic, they bridge to the next level of care. But they can give medications and things like this. So there's all different levels. What I'm also going to say is, in a situation where there are more people, and this I would call almost a mass casualty, not multiple casualty, where the resources that are available are not adequate for the number of injured or sick. That's what calls it that. That's what it's that kind of incident. So generally for a parade, they may have had some medical standby for that many people in that small of an area on a cold day. You know, lots of elderly people can get cold, children can get cold. So they may have had 1 or 2, that is totally out of the realm of resources that would have been required for this many people injured. 68, I believe, were hit, actually, directly with the vehicle, not to mention all the others who may have been running and sprained and, whatever, minor injuries there. There had to have been, like, literally in the hundreds. There is a process that is used for that, and I'm not going to go too far into it because it's kind of a morbid thing to do. When we go in, if I am the highest level of trained medical person there, I want to know, is there a level of consciousness? The first thing I'm going to do is say, anybody who can stand up and walk to this area, that's what you do. And those people are what we term, it's a slang term, a walkie-talkie. So they're injured or they're hurt or they're sick, but they can manage or help manage their own care. And a very basic person can handle this. The second level, do they have a level of consciousness? Are they breathing? Do they have a heartbeat? If they don't, and I can't make that happen with one or two simple things, quite honestly, we leave that person behind and go to the next one. Now, I'm not going to go too far into that and what happens to those people, but basically you've got levels. It's kind of like a traffic system. Green are the people who can walk and go to that place and get their care. Yellow, they may need some more help to do that. Red, they're critical and they need a lot more resources. So I want to distinguish who is who. And that's basically what he's got started here. And he doesn't know all the words, and I haven't really used all the words, but he's got a pretty good idea of what to do. So I'm rather impressed.
I checked pulses. I asked him to squeeze my finger, asked him what hurt, what they could move. The 2 or 3 I talked to could still move. They could still talk. They could tell me what hurt. There were multiple people standing around him, also providing aid. At that point, some of the radio traffic that I was picking up on, I was gathering that potentially a vehicle had driven through the parade and hit some of these individuals. I contemplated throwing some of these people in my patrol vehicle and trying to get them to a hospital. However, my vehicle just simply isn't equipped to have that kind of space or room to do that. So given the fact that I didn't want to try to move anybody unnecessarily that would have caused further damage to them, especially if somebody's involved in blunt force trauma such as a car crash, I said, hey, if you're doing fine right now, somebody will leave by shortly, we'll get you an ambulance, just hang tight where you are. And that's basically what I had to ensure at least the 2 or 3 people that I came across. The third person I came across was also a band member. She was a female. Her leg was obviously injured. She was being held upright by a couple of adults. And I asked her what was wrong, what was hurting, if there was anything more serious with her as she was being held up. And she said, officer, I saw what happened. I saw who did this. And I said, what can you tell me? And she said, a red SUV sped through the parade and did this. She didn't say anything more than that. I said, okay. I was like, stay with your family, stay with your parents. Somebody will be by with an ambulance to get you shortly.
These 3 injured individuals you spoke to, would you describe them all as being about teenage years?
Overruled, he may
He
answer.
woke up.
Your Honor.
Oh, this is going to be
Overruled,
fun.
he may answer.
Okay, so she asked, first of all, she kind of asked a leading question because she said, were they all teenagers? She could have asked about what age, or, if that were going to be the objection. But she's laying foundation, so they probably are going to let that go because no matter how she asked the question, he's going to know. It's pretty obvious how the question is going to be answered. It's going to be answered the same way, either way. So really, it doesn't matter. I don't think, anyway. I'm not an attorney. I don't think so. But he is objecting. And wait till he says this. Now, remember, I don't know if anybody's been watching all of these, but remember when I said we are taught as first responders, because we do go to court cases a lot. We will testify in court. And what you are taught, what you are told is, and what I would tell students is, you're not really talking to the judge. You're not really talking to the attorneys. You're not talking to the audience in the gallery. The jury is the one who needs to hear. So no matter where the questions come from, facing the jury and giving the answer to the jury is appropriate. And that's what he's going to have, because nobody's paying attention to him. They didn't pay attention to him when he was pouting about the COVID test thing and all this other stuff that he was just crying about and he was feeling so emotional about. He wasn't getting the attention. So now he's going to turn to just quite, very frankly saying, you're not paying attention to me. And that's basically what he's saying.
Are you going to answer to the question to
Yes.
the prosecution table or to the jury? I'm not sure. He's looking at them answering the questions, but they're not answering the question, asking the questions.
You may answer the question, sir.
Because it's dumb.
The three individuals that I met with initially had band uniforms on, and it was my understanding that the band from that vicinity right then and there was a high school band, so I would place them all at teenage age range.
Okay, thank you. Were you aware that at some point a person was taken into custody in the 500 block of Elizabeth Street that was related to this incident, sir?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled.
I was made aware a little while after my involvement directly in the downtown area, yes.
Did you learn the name of the person who had been taken into custody?
Yes.
What was that name?
I knew from radio traffic at the time that it was a Darrell Brooks.
Of course the police are going to put out the information that they have a suspect, because they don't want the rest of all of those police officers, the ones that were there, the ones that came in, the ones that came from way far away, to keep looking for this clown. So of course it's going to be relevant, and of course they're going to say that, because they don't want to put any of these other people in danger anymore. Ugh, Darrell.
I didn't know the date of birth.
I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to have to be short.
Some point later, after the chaos had somewhat settled, did you have an opportunity to go back and try and investigate the initial complaint you had taken from Erica Patterson?
Yes, I did.
Did you attempt to identify Ms. Patterson fully through police records?
I did identify Ms. Patterson fully by positive ID, yes.
And did you learn of any complaints that have been filed by Ms. Patterson in the past to other police agencies?
See, these would be objectable, I would think. Did he just object? I don't know, I'm sorry. I think he just objected, but there were some pretrial rulings that some of this past stuff can't come in because it's too prejudicial.
Irrelevant.
Overruled. He may answer the question that's being posed at this point.
So that's a warning, I think.
I did conduct some more investigation after my involvement in the entire mass casualty incident. When I went back to the police department afterwards, and I was able to verify that Erica Patterson had been involved in other police cases outside of WAUKESHA.
And specifically, could you find anything linking Ms. Patterson to the defendant, Darrell Brooks?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I did.
He will say hearsay to this a lot, but charges, what you've been convicted of, those are records. Those aren't hearsay. Okay, so if I'm a police officer and I go into a record, that's not hearsay. That's something that exists. That's a fact.
Did find information through our reporting system and other law enforcement sources to directly link Erica Patterson to Darrell Brooks, yes.
And did that information also directly link Darrell Brooks to a vehicle described as a red SUV?
Yes, it did.
Yes, because he ran over Erica and broke her leg on like 20 days before this, and that's what he was jumping bail from. That's what the two bail jumping things are from. And he ran over her with this reminds me of that part in Kindergarten Cop where the lady, leans over and says, "You're not so tough without your car, are you?" He's going to have to tread out of that thing, so...
don't have any other questions for this witness at this time, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brooks, you may start your cross-examination.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Here we go. Buckle up, everybody. Darrell
I
woke
notice,
up.
Officer Phillips, you are in uniform this afternoon. Were you scheduled to work today?
Yes.
So
I'm not gonna make a big deal out of this because I've said this before and I'll probably say it again. First responders, police, fire, even, some other people who would be in uniform during incidents, when we go to court for these things, whether we are being paid or, first of all, whether we are on duty or not, we would wear our uniforms. We, in the fire department, were supposed to wear our Class A uniforms. We had to get all dressed up for this. And whether we were on duty or not, guess what? We get paid. We get paid to go to court. So if I have like a vacation coming up and the court date is on the first day of that vacation, they have to pay me to go and testify for that subpoena. They really do. You get paid anyway, and we're not doing it for personal gain. It's part of your job. Lord.
it would be fair to say that you would be on duty as of now if you weren't giving testimony in this matter.
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
I would be on duty right now, yes.
So it will also be fair to ask if it would be fair to say that you giving testimony right now, you're still getting paid for it.
I am currently employed by the City of Waukesha Police Department on a working patrol shift, on a normal shift for myself, yes.
See, and that's a dumb question because he could be getting overtime for this. He could be getting time and a half for this. Oh, what an idiot.
So with that, would it be fair to say that you are getting paid right now as we speak?
Yes, I'm getting paid right now.
By whom?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. Next question.
Were you subpoenaed by the plaintiff in this matter?
That doesn't make sense to him.
Can you rephrase the question?
Were you subpoenaed to testify here today by the plaintiff?
I'm not a lawyer. And when he asks, like, me or lay people, well, it would be me because I'm a lay person right now, that question, normal people wouldn't know what you're talking about. Okay, they get a subpoena, they follow the instructions. That's what normal people do. Do you have to follow the instructions? Well, no, and there's consequences for that. There's double consequences for him because he has agreed when he signed on to be a police officer to follow subpoenas and follow the law. If he gets a subpoena and he doesn't go, the court can go after him and put a warrant out for him, and he could lose his job. Okay, so there's like double consequences. So he's going to probably follow it. Darrell, this is one of those soft set things as far as I understand. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but this is what I understand. He's saying that who subpoenaed you? Okay, well, if the state of Wisconsin subpoenaed you, then, where's the state? And that makes no sense. We all subscribe to social constructs and vote for our laws. Every year you get to vote for new statutes or change in statutes and seatbelt laws and all sorts of things. We all agree to those things. In my state, I have to wear a helmet when I ride my motorcycle. In the state that's neighboring me to the north, they don't. It's the same kind of social construct, but it's the agreement in the statutes of the state. So if I am there and I don't have my helmet on and I ride into Maryland and I don't have a helmet on, now I'm breaking a law. Somebody can stop me. They can do whatever penalties can be imposed. And what I did was I offended all of the people in the state because we've all agreed to this by voting on it. So, dumb question, Darrell.
Can you explain it in another way?
That was pretty clear.
It was pretty clear.
Were you subpoenaed to testify by the plaintiff in this matter?
I was subpoenaed by the WAUKESHA County
Ridiculing.
Prosecution's Office to testify in this matter.
And can you say that again just for the record?
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office in this matter.
Is the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
No, but they represent the plaintiff.
Do you know of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you ever seen the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Have you ever talked
Sustained.
to the plaintiff in this matter?
By his line of thinking, the plaintiff in this matter would be the people that he hurt. Some of those people, even to the date of this trial, are still in the ICU at the hospitals in the area. Some of them are unalive. So, Darrell, did you want those people dug up and trotted up to the I mean, you're making no sense.
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Why are you continuing to look at parties that are not asking the questions?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
He thinks he's going to make him look bad by doing that. He does not make him look bad.
So, in the video, it's kind of hard to hear everything that was said when you pulled over and interviewed the three individuals. Can you give a little more commentary on what was actually said?
Can you clarify exactly?
What exactly were you told by the three individuals that you pulled over to interview?
I don't remember or recall exactly what all three individuals said to me, as 1078 and the screams for help by other officials over the radio were directing my attention to figure out what was also going on downtown. What I recall hearing from these individuals is that one of the individuals that was not Erica indicated that their friend had been in a fight or an altercation. So that's when I decided to pull over to try to get more information out of them. Erica, told me that nothing happened, that there was just a verbal altercation, that she wanted nothing to happen and she just wanted to leave. That's when another one of the individuals said, Erica, you need to report what happened. And she still didn't want to. And that was basically about the extent of it when I just tried to get her name as these calls over the radio were coming for whatever was happening downtown that was unbeknownst to me at the time.
So would it be fair to say that you do recall the commentary of the interview?
I'm sorry. Now I will object as argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained.
He just said what he remembered. He didn't say it was everything verbatim.
The word commentary mischaracterizes the evidence. It's argumentative.
So it would be fair to say that you do recall what was said after already saying you don't recall.
That's argumentative
I
too.
object. It's argumentative.
Sustained. Rephrase your
It's just
question.
nasty.
Say
Is that what
you
that
do
means,
recall
argumentative?
what was said after already saying
And
you
that's
don't
the same
recall.
thing.
I object. It's argumentative.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
it would be fair to say that you responded to a fight at Frame Park, possibly involving a knife. That'd be fair to say.
That is what the initial dispatch was, yes.
Was any knife recovered?
Okay, I'm sorry to have. I wanted to pause it a little earlier. Let me tell you about dispatch. Exactly not 0.2% of what comes out of dispatch is usable information. Like, I don't know how many times we were on the wrong. We actually were dispatched to a house collapse. And the person who was in the house collapsed on him. He went home from work. He was in the kitchen trying to make himself something to eat. I'll never forget, he worked for FedEx, had a FedEx uniform on. And we had the truck there. The truck is the one with the tools. Truck equals tools. So truck has the ladder is all the way up. They've already pulled the whole ladder off this tiller truck, one of those big ones with 2 drivers. Okay. They dispatched us to the wrong address. Okay? They dispatched us to the wrong address. They couldn't even tell us that over the radio. They called the chief on the scene on his personal cell phone from a cell phone in dispatch to say that we were on the wrong block. So we packed everything up. We went a block and a half over to the other address. This poor guy, he's asking me what took us so long to get him out. Like, I don't know what was more sad. The fact that the house that we were at first was vacant and looked like it possibly could have collapsed, or the fact that we were at the wrong house, or the fact that they sent us, or the fact that they couldn't admit their mistake, or what, I don't know. But dispatch tells what they think they hear. They tell what they're told. You know, I'm getting ready to actually try to become a dispatcher. So I probably shouldn't criticize but it's every part of that job is a hard job. Every part of first responding is a hard job.
From that scene, or?
I did not recover a knife. No.
Did you see anybody with a knife?
But they would give him that information because they would want him to be alert to it. Okay? So even if it's the wrong information, they definitely want you to be alert to it. Okay? There could be a knife here.
The individual with a knife.
Did you learn who reported that there was a knife involved?
He would never do that.
I do not know the subject's names that actually reported the incident.
From your recollection, sorry. Just 1 second. From your recollection, was Erica Patterson being cooperative with the information that she gave you?
Erica Patterson was not being cooperative with the information she was giving me, no.
That's kind of a bad way to say it, but okay. Fair enough.
Do you recall if the male individual reported any information to you?
I believe I heard a male's voice during the time that I was flagged down. I don't recall what information he told me directly.
But there was 3 individuals that you interviewed at that time. Would that be fair to say?
There were 3 individuals present at the time I was flagged down, yes.
And one of them was a male. Would that be fair to say?
Correct, yes.
But you don't recall him relaying any type of information to you at that time?
I remember hearing a male's voice. I don't remember what information that specific person told me at that time.
Okay, twice he's just said that in a row.
Just so we're clear on the record, how long did you conduct that interview? Would you say, was it a couple of minutes or?
We saw it on the video. It was like a minute.
I'd have to look directly at the squad video for an exact timestamp.
After you interviewed those 3 individuals, did you later gain any more information of the incident that you were investigating at that time?
I did not gain any further information regarding the specific fight that I was initially dispatched to, no.
He almost gives too much information, but I like how he gives complete sentences.
And just so we're clear for the record, you did not talk to the plaintiff about testifying.
Objection. Say. Sustain.
Did you say vague?
Yeah, do you know what that means? Vague.
Were you contacted in any way by the plaintiff to testify here today?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you know if there's even a plaintiff in this matter?
I was contacted by the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office to testify in this case.
Do you know if that's the plaintiff in this matter?
Generally, in a criminal case, the plaintiff would be the state of Wisconsin.
He's correct.
That is my assumption in this case, that the plaintiff is the...
And that would be my understanding. Now, lawyers can probably chime in and get very specific, but like I said, as the state of Wisconsin, represented by the attorney's office right there, the 3 attorneys that are sitting there, they represent the people. And when the laws are offended by somebody, those attorneys prosecute the case for all of us. You know, I'm pretty sure that everybody in the state of Wisconsin would have been happy to pile into that courtroom and say, you did create an offense against us. We all agree not to run people over.
The state of Wisconsin.
So the state of Wisconsin is the
There you
plaintiff
go.
in this matter, to your knowledge.
That would be correct, yes.
No further questions, John.
All right, thank you. Do you have any redirect?
Just very briefly, one question. You have been asked by Mr. Brooks if you did anything to further investigate the initial fights that you were dispatched to. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
Did you, in fact, relay to detectives who were working on this parade incident the information you had found out about the link between Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did detectives then follow up?
to my knowledge, it's detectives that followed up on any further investigation regarding the fight itself.
Thank you. Nothing else.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down. Oh, go ahead. You have your next witness.
Yes, I'd also like to move Exhibit 1C into the record, please.
Exhibit 1C is received.
Thank you.
Your objection is noted.
Can I state the grounds, if I may?
No.
You may.
There's a point in the video that was shown, like during
This is important.
the interview part between the officer and the three individuals where,
That's not the exhibit we're talking about.
well,
We're talking about 1C, which is the annotations to the map that were made that are captured by the annotation system that the state just moved in and the court received.
okay, I didn't understand what was being referred to. I was gonna bring this up, but I wanted to wait.
Sir, let's take it up outside the presence of the jury later on. You'll have to remind me later. I've already received the video, which is exhibit number 6.
That video has some language in it that you made an order on. So I just want to put that on the
Can't say
record.
that in front of the jury.
Something that
So
you
dumb.
ruled on.
Sir, we'll take it up outside the presence of the jury. All right? I need to keep going on. Next witness, please.
State will call Kyle Edwards.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it here and break these up into smaller parts. It's easier for my computer. It's easier for me, quite frankly, because I don't want to keep chiming in and just making fun of him. Though fun, it's not really the point of what I want to do. All right, so thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging in with me while I learn. And everybody have a safe and wonderful day.